Well, boys, today is tomorrow, and Ludwig is in the news for today because this man had to shut down one of his, I guess, production companies, Offbrand, which basically they were putting together streaming events for, himself and other streamers. And the reasoning behind why he had to shut down this whole entire operation and basically had to lay off a bunch of staff is because a, the man's not re-signing with YouTube, so a huge chunk of his money is just blown to the wind now. That's just gone, alright? There's no more windfall out there. There's no more investor funds from YouTube. I don't think either Twitch or YouTube are ever doing contracts ever again because that's literally just burning money. Anyone that was a streamer between like 2018 and 2021, y'all made out like bandits, all right? People were getting millions of dollars for nothing at all. They were literally providing no benefits to basically any of the platforms that they streamed on. So basically a huge chunk of money that, would actually just be funneled into Off-Brand's production for the events, it's just gone now, right? Ludwig is no more getting any contracts. He has to rely on the actual ad revenue and sponsorships now. And then B, speaking about sponsorships, Ludwig apparently has not been getting paid by his sponsorships for a few years now, and it wasn't the sponsor's fault.
I think a month or two ago, maybe 2 months ago, that my sponsorship money has not been paid out to me in a couple of years. And it was basically being used as float to make Off-Brand's numbers look better than they were. And so when I found this out, I was like, oh, damn, the books here were a bit cooked. The books were cooked. Yes, sir. The books were cooked. I scammed myself. And then when me and the team did some digging, we were like, this hole is too deep. This hole is too deep. And if we keep digging in this hole, not only is Off-Brand fucked, Mogul Moves is fucked. Everyone loses their job.
Apparently, I'm guessing some third-party middleman that Ludwig never alluded to who did it, but he's kind of alluding to he got scammed. But apparently, the sponsors paid out the money to, I'm assuming, some third-party middleman, and Ludwig was thinking the whole time that, oh yeah, they're just going to pay it to the company, whatever, the accountant will see whenever, yada, 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 who cares, we'll just, I'm assuming get some loans or some debt and we'll pay it off whenever we get paid from the sponsorships. But little did Ludwig know he was not getting that sponsorship money. I'm assuming whoever was receiving the money and that was supposed to pay it out to Ludwig's company, they decided, damn, that's a lot of money. I could actually be set up for life with this. but in reality, from what Ludwig was saying, the books were a bit cooked. So they lost $3 million, seeing that the sponsorship money was actually being represented as they were making profit instead of it just being money for the business to continue on by paying its employees. So they were getting fucked tax-wise is basically what was happening. And basically the company was doing a little bit of tax evasion. So they had to pay almost over $3 million in taxes. So now Ludwig has like two problems because with Off-Brand, he had to keep the company afloat with these events that he was throwing, but the events weren't doing good at all. Like viewership wise wasn't really doing good because whenever it comes down to live streams, people go to live streams to interact with their favorite streamers. They don't want the streamer to just ignore chat, which with events, that's kind of the whole purpose of a lot of these events, is to ignore the whole chat and put on something for the viewership. So typically people don't watch the live streams of these events, and they probably watch more of the like clips and the highlights of these events on like YouTube, Twitter, so on and so forth, Instagram, right? So really, the events don't do well viewership wise. They don't do well, monetarily. So that's already one thing that's, sad for Ludwig in these events. And then the second thing that really just was the nail on the coffin for, Off-Brand and everyone that worked there was the debt came a-knocking. And Ludwig realized we can't continue on with this because A, it's not making any money, and B, they're knocking at the door right now. They want everything, all right? We got to start selling shit. All right, take your shoes off. We got to resell them, even though they're like some beat up Converse. Screw it, every dollar counts. So basically, Ludwig had to shut down the company ASAP. It wasn't like he could just wait till, maybe February or March, let people float around and think that they still have a job. because, you know, getting fired right before Christmas is probably one of the worst things ever to happen to someone. But also at the same time, you don't want people just thinking that they have a job knowing in 3 months you're going to shut down the company either way. So I guess good for Ludwig for making that hard decision of being like, well, it's either today or tomorrow you're getting fired. So I'm sorry, it's going to have to be today. But guess what? You get to look for new work faster.
A couple of years ago, I made a video on this channel called My Plan to Quit Streaming. And in that video, I talked about how I started a company called Offbrand with the idea of making events for not just myself, but other creators. And that company was mostly made up of former Beyond the Summit employees. Unfortunately, yesterday we had to announce that we are closing down the production side of Offbrand. We released a statement that I'm going to read verbatim because it's pretty well written. When we started Offbrand, our plan was to help creators bring their ideas to life. For many creators, we did that, and we're proud of everything we helped create. Our people worked hard, and we made amazing content, but we failed to make the events business sustainable. And as a result, we made the difficult decision to shut down that side of the business. Offbrand Games isn't going anywhere, and I'm going to keep making events through Mogul Moves. But we want to thank everyone who supported and watched the events we helped produce. If you're looking for talented folks in production, please check out. We have a sheet that has a lot of the people listed. I've already had a lot of people personally reach out interested. So if you're hiring, reach out fast. I would love if you did that. Now, this video is absolutely not to garner sympathy in any way, shape, or form.
So Ludwig, after that clip, goes on to talk about how some people are blaming the way that the job was structured as a co-op. And he didn't really go into what a co-op is. I'm assuming some of you guys know what it is. Some people probably not, because in America it's not really that common to have co-ops. But basically, he was saying that some people on Twitter, whenever he announced this, was like, oh, it's because you made the company into a co-op, which has nothing to do with the actual company going under. The reason why the company went under is because it just wasn't making money, because, you know, producing streams, like high quality, almost TV level streams, is not really profitable, especially if you're not getting like millions of dollars from sponsorships. But basically, just so you guys know, I'm going to tell you guys, a co-op is basically whenever everyone in the company owns and has some say in how the company is run, right? If everyone wants to be like, hey, we want to do X thing with the company, we want to invest in the X thing. Well, you can't invest in the X thing if like 40% of the people don't want to do it. So like everyone from like the highest production manager to the lowest level janitor can have a say in this company and how it's run. Instead of how usually most companies are ran basically throughout the world, which is where either executive like a CEO or a small group of executives like a board of directors or something are the people that actually control how the company's ran, and the workers can basically fuck off. So in a co-op, if every worker wants to be like, hey, we want to, I don't know, give ourselves a pay raise, they can do that. But also if they bankrupt the company, then I mean, like, they won't have a job anymore. Unlike a regular workplace where the boss has to give you a pay raise, and if the boss says no, it's just no. But Ludwig continues on to say what really happened with Offbrand and how it basically sank.
But the real issue was the business model. Now, the business model wasn't working, wasn't making money. And the main difference, if you have like a traditional S corporation as opposed to a worker co-op, is it's easier to get outside investment. But I don't think outside investment would help a failing business model. And we know that because it happens all the time. Like esports, they have a bunch of outside investment. But when that VC money dries up, it shows that the underlying business model isn't working and they have to change their business model. We did that without the outside investment. And of course, outside investment can help like with an initial runway because, you know, most businesses don't make money in the first year. But instead of finding that money from the outside, I personally invested. I used my own money. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
In my personal opinion, I'm no businessman, but I'm just saying I like playing with other people's money, especially if I don't really have to pay it back. I mean, like, shit, give me some of that VC money. Then I can be like, I didn't know the business would just die off like that. Oopsie doopsie, I'm just go away with a briefcase full of cash. That's just in my personal opinion. But obviously, Ludwig is a better man than me because he decided to fund this whole project with his own money. You know, good for Ludwig and his rich ass. God, why can I be like that rich? Golly. But yeah, he decided to fund this all by himself. And I'm assuming he will thought, oh, even if the company doesn't make any money ever, I can continue to fund this in perpetuity. Because he was like, the sponsorships will pay for a majority of it. And then any other money that I need to pay, I mean, like, shit, I got so many investments. I got so much YouTube ad revenue. This man at one point leaked his own ad rev, and it was $200K in a month. So I'm sure the man was doing fine. But again, as I was saying, basically the sponsorships weren't coming in the way that they were supposed to, and the money, he doesn't know where it's at right now. So he has no other choice but to shut down the company. But he goes into detail about how a lot of things were just starting to go downhill with the production company, and how, like, basically the production company didn't do anything bad. The whole reason why the whole company was going down was that the viewership just wasn't there for live streamed events, right? Plus, for the company to actually survive, it would need more than just Ludwig making events. The whole reason for the company to exist would be for actual streamers to start, producing their own live stream events, which they weren't doing. They were just going to Ludwig's event and then not making their own. There's not enough people that actually watch streams live for these events to actually make sense. Because you boys have to think of it like this. Right now, per video, I probably get between like 1,000 and 2,000 views. On a really good day, it might jump up to like 6 to 20K views, right? That's like a really good day. I'm like ahead of the curve on a topic, and everyone's, finally recognizing my talents. They finally recognized my talents that day. But like 1,000, 2,000 viewers, I'm making decent money. Don't get me wrong, Chad. I'm not living off of this, all right? It is nice pocket money. Every month I get a nice little check from YouTube, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go spend this at McDonald's or something once I get back from the soup kitchen. Because basically, not a lot of money is coming from, just a small amount of viewership on YouTube. For you to make, really good money, you probably have to start getting between 20 and 30,000 views. That's whenever you are starting to make decent money, especially with me uploading daily. That's when you're starting making decent money on YouTube. So you have to like and subscribe and turn on the bell notifications with all notifications on. And make sure you share the videos with your friends, because hopefully next year we can go, I know I'm jinxing myself, but hopefully maybe we can go full time by next year. But for like Twitch, you can have like literally 500 viewers and you're already making more than minimum wage. You're probably getting between 3 and 4K a month off of Twitch, off of 500 views. I'm like, shit, some people have done with 200 views before, but usually they're prettier than, a fish. People are very species is out there. They don't want to donate to a fish. But yeah, like on Twitch, you can make a ton of money off of a smaller amount of viewership, because ad revenue pays out more, and plus Twitch has a culture of actually paying for the content that they enjoy. Unlike on YouTube, where Ludwig was doing a lot of these events, and so basically Ludwig missed out on a ton of money that he probably would have got live from Twitch viewership, even though Charlie Moist Critical basically broke down how dual streaming would be more beneficial, if anything, for people like Ludwig, because on YouTube you get less viewers live, less money live, but YouTube gives you more money over time through ad revenue, so it'll make up more money over time. On Twitch, you'll make more money live, but absolutely nothing whenever you're offline.
I then switched to multi-streaming last year, and what I've learned is Twitch is much higher potential to earn money while live than YouTube, and it's because of things like the Twitch Primes, which have become a pretty integral part of the Twitch ecosystem, and ads. Twitch actually has more ads than YouTube, and thus, since more ads are playing, that's more money being generated from those ads to the streamers. So Twitch has a higher earning potential through live content. And the VODs on Twitch don't make any money. Like, they just don't. I don't even know if they're fucking monetized. And if they are, I don't know if streamers even see a penny of that. Like, not a single one of those fucking clams makes it to a streamer's pockets through the VODs. But on YouTube, it's a totally different story. My most successful stream on YouTube isn't the one I just had at the Game Awards with over 110,000 live viewers, which is my biggest stream by viewer metrics. The most profitable stream I've ever done, the most profitable anything I've ever done, is this stream right here, my Starfield stream. During the stream, I had 31,000 average viewers with a peak of 38K, which is a big stream. That is a big stream for me. It's actually more average viewers than the Rocket League one, but the Rocket League stream not only was a longer stream, but had a higher peak, and thus you would expect make more money because of the ads and the subs that came through. Well, what if I told you that's not the fucking case when it comes to YouTube streaming? Because this Starfield video actually made $84,000. 84,000 doubloons for a 4-hour stream just playing mid-poop-ass Starfield, the actual, like, this was like an insomnia, try not to fall asleep challenge, basically.
So yeah, for someone like Ludwig, he very much needs to start doing dual streaming if he's going to do events again, because Charlie has shown that it basically almost doubles your money. You get more money from Twitch whenever you're live and more money from YouTube whenever the VOD is done. Now, Ludwig also was a proponent for a while of saying you need to stick with one platform, because if you don't, then you're going to splinter off your viewership because X, Y, and Z factors. But in reality, people like Ludwig and Moist Critical and all these other top 1% streamers don't need to worry about that at all, right? Because if they have an audience on YouTube, they're probably either going to stay on YouTube or, switch over to Twitch, right? Viewership really doesn't matter to these people. They have so much viewership to where it doesn't really matter to them. He should be dual streaming, because even if it does splinter his audience, Charlie has shown it's actually more beneficial, because the people that want to watch you on one platform can watch you on that one platform. People want to watch you on another platform can watch you on that platform. And either way, you're making more money by doing less work. Or actually the same amount of work, not even less. But Ludwig continues on talking about how the business was faltering over some time.
The issue isn't the events, it is the time between events. So if we had a Streamer Games, a Streamer Awards, a Sea Dog charity auction every single month, or even 2 a month, that's what the team is capable of handling and would also need to handle to be able to sustain itself. So the issue was less that events don't make money, but more so that the appetite from creators for events of that scale at the cadence it would need to be would not allow people to be employed full time. It only really makes sense for like contract work. And you can kind of see that the appetite isn't there if you just look at the biggest streamers in the world over the past year on Twitch. This is like the top 15 creators on Twitch. And you can see here, nobody except for Kai on this list is doing big events. I guess Tarek is doing Ludwig Tarek 3 and a few other things to his credit. And, Hassan did that show with Twitch. But for the most part, most of these people are just in their bedroom every day. And their costs are like what it costs to keep the lights on and have internet running through their computer. That's about it. There are very few creators who are interested in, spending $250,000, $500,000 to do some random cool shit that at least, some big event or whatever. They'd rather do it from home. And who can blame them? I think they're doing that because that's a reflection of what the audience wants as well.
I do have to agree with Ludwig here that, people generally don't care for like high production streams, right? Because like, imagine this, boys. You spend 200, 300K on a stream, right? Maybe you're like hoping for at least 100, if you're really lucky, 200K viewers, but then 30K viewers show up and that's it. And you're just like, oh no. And then people are like, and I'm really enjoying this one. And like, imagine you have a really rough event. That's gonna just sour the whole relationship between you and doing like another 200, 500K event ever again, because you're gonna like, I can make more money literally doing nothing, and I mean nothing. These people can literally just sit there and stare at the screen, and that will probably generate more money than any of these events. Now, Ludwig then goes on to say that he alone could not sustain the company, because basically the whole point of the company was to help out streamers make events, right? This whole thing was to be like, yo, if you're a streamer, come over here, pay us $250,000, $500,000, and we'll put on a great event for you. And they did do that. Every time you paid them, they put on great events. But for the most part, no one cared for the events, right? No streamer wanted to put on that much money, right? They didn't want to put up front 200, 500K dollars for maybe they might get the return on that money in that one event, or over like the lifetime of the YouTube video, or possibly it could have just been a flop event, right? No one wants to put up that amount of money. Even if these streamers are extremely rich, which they are, people still don't want to put up that kind of money because you're investing. And at that point, it's like, if I'm going to invest, I'm going to invest in something that actually makes money, like, stock portfolio, an ETF, something that actually generates money, instead of just, maybe this event might do good. So for the most part, Ludwig was essentially funding Offbrand himself by putting on his own events, instead of, other streamers being like, yo, Ludwig, put on this cool event with Offbrand. Maybe I want to do that, because for the most part, Ludwig just invited a lot of those streamers to his event, so they didn't need to make their own event if they could just go to Ludwig and tag themselves on to the event. Like, the whole point of these events are to grow your brand, and if you just go to Ludwig and you already know he's gonna have XQC there, he's gonna have Hassan Piker there, he's gonna have NMP LOL, he's gonna have Ninja there, right? If you already know he's gonna have all these big creators there, why would you put on your own event if you already know I can just siphon off a little bit of clout from, going to Ludwig's event and then not do anything? Because why would you? The whole point of these events are to make money or to do something that invests into your brand. Now, I understand that some people are going to be out there saying, well, people should be more creative with their streams. And you're right. They should be more creative with their streams, but they don't have the financial reasoning to. Plus, if you're going to pay $500K or 200,000 or sometimes even over $1 million for an event, you're gonna want that money back. All right, don't get me wrong, these streamers are extremely rich, but they're not that rich where they're not gonna miss $1 million. So obviously the real problem with Offbrand wasn't that they didn't do great work, or wasn't that they couldn't really stay afloat with, just as long as they could, continue to get contracts with other streamers or anyone to make live streamed events. It was the thing that there was no guarantee that the live stream would do well enough to where they could make their money back. There was zero guarantee. The live stream could have been a flop, so you just are out 200, 500, $1 million. And then B, the viewership kind of isn't always there, right? Sometimes people are there for one day. Sometimes people, they just leave. I'm just saying, like, you can't expect $500,000 to pour in your bank account from one live stream or even from one YouTube video. Right, you're really going to have to go hard on like that one stream and clipping it out and making sure that this one stream gets stretched to its max with content creation. Right, you really have to siphon some money. So the only thing that I could actually see that would make this somewhat profitable, because this would not be profitable at all, is if, I don't know, you take a portion of streamers' revenue if they came to the event. That's the only way that it could be somewhat profitable for Offbrand / other streamers that actually want to create this kind of content. But finding a streamer that is willing to share ad revenue for, basically getting to stream with some of the biggest streamers out there is some of the hardest shit you'll ever do, because those people just won't show up. And then other streamers be like, wait, where's my favorite streamer? I am sharing ad revenue. Where's the other big streamers? It's just like, oh, you're kind of the biggest streamer here, right? That's going to sour a lot of relationships. So already this whole entire concept falls by the wayside if you can't get people that are going to actually make money off of this event, other streamers that will gain clout, money, subscribers off of it. You can't gain anything from them. Obviously, this is going to be really hard to convince someone to drop down like $250,000, $1 million for an event that is not guaranteed to give them back their money, or at least give them back a portion of their money, right? A nice significant portion, at least like 90% of it.
But you'll notice a lot of these are just my events. That's just the fact. A lot of them are my events. And I, unfortunately, although I wish I could be, am not a big enough creator to be able to sustain all of those full-time employees. I'm just not. I tried, man. I tried to do every big event I possibly could, and every cool thing. I worked as hard as I ever have this past year, but like maybe only Kai is big enough to be able to do that, and has the appetite to also do that. And we didn't have enough outside streamers to be able to fill all those gaps between the large events that we did do. At some point, I might talk a little bit more about how this happened so suddenly, but it's because the cost mounted quite quickly. All right, simply put, it got to a basically unsustainable point. And I've seen some people give shit for like the timing of this, right? Like before the holidays, whatever, which is fair criticism. We are doing like a good severance package. We are paying people out for the next 2 months. But the reality is if we were to have kept this business going until March, I would not only have enough money, I would not only not have enough money to keep Offbrand going, but I'd also have to shut down Mogul Moves at that point. It was beginning to impact both businesses with just the burden of costs of the production side, if that makes sense. So it's something we had to act quickly on. And if we were to delay breaking the news to the employees, maybe you could announce this after the holiday break and sit on it, then they would just have less time to find work. So obviously the timing is not ideal, but we did it and we acted the moment we found out the information that, hey, by March, if we don't do something, everything is going to
Now, I can totally sympathize with Ludwig on this because I myself was in the same position. By same position, which I mean I was employed by someone who decided, I'll wait a few months before I tell the person, hey, we're kind of not financially stable anymore. I might have to let you go, right? I was devastated. Plus, the best times to find, YouTubers to work for, especially editing work, is around the holiday times. For some reason, around that time is whenever YouTubers really, really are looking for a lot of extra help. If I knew like a month in like November that, I was going to have a job by February, this was like 2 years ago now, I would have been able to more easily find work more quickly. But the person was just holding on to that information until, February. And then I'm just like, wow, I'm not in editing season. No one's looking for an editor right now. It was one of the worst times. So, I can actually say Ludwig made the better decision of telling people sooner rather than later. Because the sooner he told them, the easier it is to find work, especially, I don't know how production work is. Some work is seasonal, right? Even if you are trying to find full-time employment, some people only hire around a certain season, especially in content creation. Like, around this time, this is whenever content creators make the most amount of money. I mean, like, hand over fist money. Like, boys, right now, getting 1 to 2K viewership. But, like, boys, I'm gonna be honest here, I have made a significant amount more money than what I've made at the beginning of the year. But still, this is the season for people to pick up, new editors, new thumbnail artists, new writers. Shit, by January, it's already too late for you to be like, you know what? I'm gonna fire these people now, right? It's already too late by then. A lot of the seasonal holiday extra income that YouTubers would be using to pick up these new editors and stuff are now gone, right? That money has dried up because most of the companies have used up all that money, and now it's a new fiscal year. And now these people have to wait a few months, like 8-9 months before, real work is actually coming in. After, January, it's usually just trickle down. If you get a job, that's really lucky. If you don't, I'm like, it's literally how production / content creation goes. And at least Ludwig was honest and real, unlike this man who basically wanted to scam other YouTubers out of their money for his quote-unquote charity. Click this video right here, boys, to find out why did Jake Doolittle have to make a I'm sorry I tried to scam people for my quote-unquote charity video. But other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.